Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me. In this video, I'm going to be making two cards using some of the Spellbinders club sets for February 2023, including the clear stamp, small die, and the 3D embossing folder of the month. So to start out, I want to show you the clear stamp of the month. This stamp set is called Pocket Bunny. It's a 4x6 stamp set and it has few different bunnies on here, one in a pocket, one in an Easter egg, and one in some foliage, and there are several sentiments included in the stamp set as well. Now if you belong to the clear stamp with the coordinating die, you will get the dies to cut them out. I went ahead and stamped out one of the bunnies, the one in the Easter egg, and I stamped it out with some Memento Tuxedo black ink onto some Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock because this is the cardstock that I use for Copic coloring. And I'm going to bring in some Copic markers. Now I'm going to color the actual Easter egg yellow. I initially brought in 3 colors of my Copic markers, but I realized that my mid-tone was dried out. So what I did in that case is I went ahead and applied my darkest yellow on the edges. That's the Y08. And then I came in with my lightest color. My lightest color is the Y000, and to get a better blend between those two colors, I'm just using my lightest color marker, which is the Y000, putting it on the tip of the darker marker, getting some ink on that tip, and then blending that out. This is also a great technique to use if for some reason you don't have any in-between colors, you have a darker marker and a lighter marker, and you just want to get something in between, you can use this tip-to-tip method. I'm going to color the flowers on the top and bottom of that Easter egg with my purples. So I'm starting out with the V17, which is my dark, then I'm coming in with V15 followed by V12 to fill the rest of that in. I'm going to color this wavy line with some of the blues, the B14 as my dark, and then filling this in with B12. I'm going to bring in some pinks, so this is the R85, and then I'm also going to use the R83. The greens are the YG05. I'm going to fill in all of those dots that you see on the Easter egg. Then I'm going to come in and add some YG09, and I'm going to use that as the dark for all of those leaves, and then I'm going to fill that in with the YG05, and that's going to give me some little bit of shading there on the leaves. For the bunny, I'm going to color that up with the RV00. I'm just coloring along the edges with the RV00 and then coming in with the RV000 and just blending that out a little bit more towards the center of the bunny. I'm not going to color the whole bunny up, so the actual center part is going to stay white. I just wanted to add a little bit of shadow using some pinks. If you wanted to use some gray colors, you can do that as well. I'll bring back in the R85 and R83 to color up 2 of the tulips, and I'm also going to be bringing some orange in, so I'm going to use the YR16 as well as the YR12 to finish up the other tulips. I stamped out a few of the flowers and some of the leaves, and I'm going to bring in all of those same colors again. So I'm going to have an orange flower, so I'm going to add the dark to closest to the center and then fill it in with the lightest color. And then I'm also going to bring in some of the pinks, do the same thing, the R85 and the R83 for my pinks. I'll color up the centers, and I'm also going to color another flower in the purples, and I'll also be using the same greens for the leaves. Now there are not dies to cut these flowers and leaves out, so I will fussy cut these, but I will use the coordinating dies to cut out the bunny. There is one to cut the bunny out. And I also would stamp out the sentiment Happy Easter, and I'll use the coordinating die to cut that out as well. And here's a look at what they look like once die cut, and then I did fussy cut out the flowers and I just set those aside. So I'm going to use the 3D embossing folder of the month to do some embossing on some pink cardstock. The 3D embossing folder of the month is a brand new club to Spellbinders. It started in January, so it started last month. And I love these 3D embossing folders because they put such a raised impression into the cardstock. And here is the typical embossing folder sandwich when you're using your 3D embossing folders. I am using my universal plate system because that will give me the best sandwich when embossing. I went ahead and put the platform base in my Spellbinders Black Platinum machine, and I'm going to go ahead and put the pink cardstock inside of the embossing folder. And I put the adapter plate right on top, and I'll go ahead and run this through my Black Platinum Spellbinders machine. And when this comes out, I'm going to go ahead and open up this embossing folder and look at the beautiful raised impression on that cardstock. I love these 3D embossing folders, and they're also pretty big embossing folders. They will emboss a 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of paper. You can use these for slimline cards, 5 by 7 cards. You can even cut them down for A2 size cards, which is what I did here. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges because I think that by inking up the edges it will add some more definition and bring out some more of that embossed image on that card front. So I'm starting out with the Distress Oxide. This is the Kitch Flamingo ink. It's a darker pink. And then I'm going to come in with the Spun Sugar and just go over the darker pink and bring this lighter pink more out towards the center. But you can see as I go over this with an ink blending tool, you can see that it actually puts that ink on top of that design, and it really starts to make that design pop. I am going to add some a little bit more towards the center, and look how gorgeous that design is with that inked background. So I'm going to go ahead and now just add those images to my card, and I'm going to add them to the center of the card. I'll have the Easter egg and then the Happy Easter down below, and I'm also going to add some of the flowers underneath the Easter egg just so that that Easter egg looks like it's grounded and it's sitting on top of those flowers. Now I will have links to all of the Spellbinders clubs down in the description box below, so if you are interested in joining any of the clubs, check out the description box of this YouTube video for those direct links. I will add this layer to an A2 size card base that measures 4.25 by 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to add some of the Spellbinders Color Essential Gems to the front of the card. I did add them to the centers of the flowers on that embossing folder. For my next card, I'll be using the small die of the month for February, and this is called Floral Mini Tiles. It includes 17 cutting dies. There are several different shape dies, as well as there are some flower dies with the coordinating layering dies for the flowers, including the centerpieces. I'm also going to be bringing in this Playful paper pad from Scrapbookcom. I love using these paper pads that already have the colors chosen for me, because then I don't need to worry about thinking about what colors go together, because everything in the paper pad goes together. And for my card today, I'm going to be bringing in this hexagon shape from the die set. Now if you die cut just the hexagon die by itself, it's going to give you just the hexagon shape, but if you layer the layering piece inside, you're going to get what looks like this. And I went ahead and die cut that with this red cardstock, and what I can do now is just layer that top piece onto the solid shape. I'm going to be making a pattern on my card using these hexagon dies, so I will end up die cutting and creating 8 of the hexagons. So I'll do that off camera. I just wanted to show you how to put one together. There's also some other dies I'll be bringing in, which include the flowers. So I have this die, which will die cut these 3 flowers. You have a larger flower and then some smaller ones, and I die cut that out of the light blue cardstock. And then I also have the layering piece for the flowers. This one has a little bit of a design on it, and I die cut that with a darker blue cardstock. So I'll layer the darker blue on top of the lighter blue, but I'm only going to be using the larger flower for each of those. So I will die cut 8 of those so that I can layer that on 8 of my hexagons. And I will do one here on screen, and then I'll do the others off camera. So this die here is to die cut the centers of the flowers. So I will be using white cardstock and die cutting that, and then adding the center in white. This die here will cut out some more flowers, And I die cut that out of some yellow cardstock. And I'll also use this die to die cut white cardstock to add the center of those yellow flowers. So I'll go ahead and put one together here on camera, and there's what it looks like. And then I'll do the others off camera. So these flower dies are meant for layering on top of the hexagon shape, or if you were using the diamond shape or any of the other shapes, you can layer these flowers onto those shapes. So I put the large flower in the top middle, and then the two smaller flowers will go on the bottom, one on each side, the left and the right. And then I'm going to do that for 8 of the hexagons. And I've already done all of those off camera, so now I'm ready to put my card together. I'm going to use a stamp from the clear stamp of the month that says "Have a beautiful day," and I'm just lining it up here on my card layer, making sure it's centered with where I'm going to put the first hexagon on the card. And I'm stamping it out in some blue ink because I wanted to match the flowers on the cards. So now I'm going to go ahead and add all of these hexagons to my card to create a beautiful pattern. I have a piece of white cardstock. I cut it to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and I'm starting by adding the one at the very bottom and making sure that that hexagon is flush with the left side of the card. I went ahead and glued it down, and then from here I can build upward. I want to make sure that I have about equal space between all of the hexagons, so I'm really just judging this off of what it looks like. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just going by judgment here. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the very top one. So I'll go ahead and put glue on that. I'll add it to my card, and I also want to make sure that the left edge of that hexagon is flush with the left edge of the card. And then from there, I'll go ahead and add the ones in the middle. I'm also making sure that the pointed top of each one of the hexagons is lined up with the edge of the card. So you can see that one that I just laid down, I'm making sure that the pointed top is lined up. This is just going to help me keep all of these hexagons aligned, and then from there I can continue adding glue and adding the rest of the hexagons. So here again with this hexagon, making sure that it is lined up with the top of the point on that hexagon, and again that'll make sure that it's lined up with the one below it. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up, and after I've glued them all down, I will take this card layer, turn it over, and I'll use my scissors to trim off the excess. I'll go ahead and add this layer to an A2 size card base. My card base measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to take some of the Spellbinders AB, the Spectrum AB Color Essential Gems, and I'm going to add 3 of them around my sentiment. I love the clean and simple design of this card. So once again, if you're interested in any of the Spellbinders clubs, please take a look at the links in the description box below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to click that subscribe button for more card making inspiration. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.